All right, what's good? What's good? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Nuance and Black. This is our premiere episode where we talk about anything that affects Black culture in the news, pop culture, politics, weather, anything like that that is going on in the world and that Black folks like to talk about. We're gonna have some good conversation over here. Um, we got the homie Well Adjusted, James and J Man on the panel tonight. Let's go ahead and go around the round table. Say what's up. Well Adjusted, go ahead and talk to the people.
Hey, what's happening? I'm well adjusted. You can just call me Ed. I'm the resident old head because I was born in the 70s. So life life is good.
All righty. I got to get you on our atheist testimonials interview series. I got to get you on one of those. We definitely gonna do that one of these days. James, how about yourself? I already got James on atheist testimonials already. That video actually should have already dropped. So yeah, go ahead and check that one out. James, talk to the people. Tell them who you is.
Yo, what's up? Afro Latino atheist here. Rarity. Yeah, we here.
Yeah, big rarity, big rarity. Because I already know the Latino community tends to be like highly Catholic. So an Afro Latino atheist is super rare. So yeah, man. And the homie J Man, what's going on? Talk to the people.
What's happening? It's the main man, J-Man, here to grace y'all with my presence.
Definitely. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and get right into it. We're gonna go ahead and do our pop culture, what happened in pop culture this week. We'll talk about the whole Cardi and Nicki beef. Now, well adjusted, I definitely want to get your opinion on this because you were actually around when hip hop was starting. You know what I mean? So definitely got to get you on this. Now for me, this whole beef thing, like I wanted them to jump in the booth. I don't know about anybody else, but I wanted them to jump in the booth. I wanted them to get some tracks out. You feel me? Because I'm tired of these Twitter fingers. You know, like I grew up in the era of the first rap beef I ever remember was the whole East Coast West Coast rivalry. But I was in elementary school. By the time I got to middle school and high school, that's when the 50 Cent, the Ja Rule, and the Eminem and Benzino and the what's the other person? The big beef back then was Jay-Z and Nas. Yeah. Back then, Jay-Z and Nas. Those were the beefs that I came up on. You know what I mean? Now I know about the Bridge Wars and the Roxanne Wars. I definitely want to get some opinions on that. But this beef so far, Cardi's the only JT responded to Cardi's track just the other day. And it was all right, but I just wanted more punches. You know what I mean? I wanted something more. But right now it's been all Twitter fingers and spaces and threatening to fight each other, talking about each other's kids, stuff like that. I don't know, man. Let me get one of y'all's opinions because I definitely expected more. I wanted more tracks. I wanted more disses. I want to see another Kendrick and Drake. You know what I mean? What do you guys think? Let's start with Well Adjusted. What you think, brother?
So yeah, I was born before hip hop it was even invented. So I got to see some of the greatest rap beefs ever, and that includes LL Cool J versus Cannabis. And then, and if you just go with that, LL Cool J versus Cannabis, and then Cannabis decided to beef with Eminem.
Bad idea.
That's just suicide. I mean, you got whooped by LL Cool J, arguably one of the greatest and most long-lasting rappers in the game. And then you go for the greatest of all time. You go for Eminem. That just is insane. So when I'm looking at this this Cardi and Nicki thing, now I consider Cardi B to be extremely entertaining. I think that she's fun. She's fun to listen to when she's talking, not necessarily when she's rapping, because but she's fun to listen to when she's talking. She's a great personality, so she's very quick-witted. Nicki Minaj, I don't see her as being even remotely quick-witted. I see her as being mostly just bitter. She's much older. She's been in the game much longer. She has done some really questionable things. As in, look at who she married. She married a person with a record of abuse. When it comes to Cardi, she married Offset, just another rapper. We know what he's gonna do.
Yeah. we know Off the Cheat was gonna be Off the Cheat, you know.
Yeah, but now the ladies are going after each other's children and talking bad about each other's families. Keep it on record. Keep it on wax. That's the way beef is supposed to be handled. What they're doing now, to me, is it's just like girls that don't like each other.
Yeah, basically.
You kind of see that in high school.
Yeah, well, it's gotten really catty. Like my lady was saying that the other day. It's like girl rap took an L with this. You know what I mean? Because it got super catty, super duper emotional, like throwing kids in there. It's like it seemed to have taken like a huge L. And then with JT going at Hennessy doesn't even rap. You know what I mean? Cardi's the one who rap. So it's like it's taking like a L. You feel me? Like back in the day, I remember Lil Kim and Foxy had a little thing going on. You feel me saying? Like, and they were jumping on wax against each other. You know what I mean? I remember Eve too. They was on wax against each other. Nowadays, this is why probably Twitter was a mistake. That's probably why Twitter was a mistake, because
Yes,
too
social
much,
media
man.
in general.
Yeah,
Social media in general. It allows them to still be seen
Mhm.
without really being heard.
Yeah, exactly. Matter of fact, who said that? Mike Tyson said that. He said social media made y'all so comfortable with talking all that shit, not getting punched in the face. That's
Yes, yes,
yeah, that's the problem with
yes.
social
I
media,
agree.
bro. James, what you
I
say?
agree.
So my most recent, like my experience with beef really came like when I really dived into like the rap beef was Drake and Kendrick. And we all remember like what happened between K Dot and Drake.
Mhm.
Before that, I don't know if y'all remember when Chris Brown
Quavo.
and the homie from Quavo, they had their beef, and it's gotten to the point where I feel like at some point these rappers are using each other as stepping stones.
Mhm.
And then there's times when they get really, really personal, like when Chris Brown literally said that everybody wished that it was Quavo and not Takeoff that died.
Whew.
Like shit like that gets really, really personal. I mean, Drake obviously coming at K Dot and talking about his alleged domestic violence case. They talking about each other's kids, like Nicki and Cardi are, but then I'm good when people can keep it like within the musical industry. Like, obviously Kendrick and Drake, they drop bop after bop
Mhm.
with each other. It doesn't feel that way with Nicki and Cardi. It just feels catty. It feels like they're serious about it. Like, oh, like if they were to see each other in real life, they would start fighting. But then that does nothing for the actual rap community or people that enjoy rap music. Like, use each other to make y'all's game better. This isn't just about y'all having beef and like swinging at each other if you see each other in the club. Like, I want to see how the differences between y'all make the rap game better. And I think that's what beef used to be about in the 90s and then into the early 2000s. But then it's just kind of dissolved into this Twitter shit. And like y'all say, like, social media has gotten people really, really comfortable saying a bunch of bullshit and not getting punched in the mouth. And I think we need to get back to the time where when we would do something and we'd have an issue with somebody about something, but then we would put it into the music, and that would then make the entire game and elevate everybody, rather than just two people just having a disagreement with each other and then nothing like actually productive comes out of it.
Mhm.
I have to
Yeah.
say I agree with you. I definitely agree with you, because some of the absolute best lyrics we've ever heard have come from rappers beefing with each other, including this past beef with Kendrick and the Canadian dude. um,
Drake.
yeah. So I mean I mean they not like us. That was the banger,
That was a
the
bop.
banger.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I mean, everybody's talking was running around going, "Hey Drake, I hear you like I'm young."
Mhm.
so, I mean, this it's hard. It's hard to overcome something like that. And as you can plainly see, Drake has not stuck his head out from under the ground in quite a while.
Yeah,
So
he's had
let
to.
Cardi and Nicki do something like that, where one of them absolutely completely bodies and buries the other one on lyrics.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to see, because yeah, it's one thing that I would say following Nicki's career, she doesn't seem to do good when it comes to beefs, because I think the first beef she had, I may be wrong on this, but I remember Remy dropped Sheether on Nicki, and Nicki didn't respond, and then Megan dropped not even a a diss towards Nicki, but like a subliminal one line. You know what I'm saying? Just earlier, I think last year, and same thing. Nicki went on a cocaine-filled Twitter rant. You know what I'm saying? And this time it's the same thing. Cardi didn't even say anything to her on the track. Cardi verse was against JT. It's like, why is Nicki jumping in on this? Just reigniting everything. It was really strange. I was waiting for JT to respond. Now JT actually did respond to Cardi, but I still think Cardi won that round. I don't know if y'all heard the songs yet. I heard the tracks yet, but yeah, Cardi definitely won that round. You know, they just got to come up with something more, and let's see what happens. But that's what I want to see. Yeah, I mean, because I haven't seen like, you know, girls beef for a while. Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since I've seen girls beef, and I want to see what they do. You feel me?
It's the current crop of female rappers. They rely more on their ability to garner views on, say, TikTok or Instagram than they do concentrating on their lyrics, on putting out music.
Mhm.
They are that Cardi B used to be a stripper. She was on Love and Hip Hop. When she was on Love and Hip Hop, she was still a stripper, and she bragged about drugging men and robbing them.
Mhm.
This is who we're venerating, but but still, she's not concentrating on the lyrics. She's concentrating on how she looks.
Yeah.
And I remember back in the day we had Queen Latifah, MC Light, Salt and Pepper, and these women went hard on the lyrics. Even Moni Love was battling with somebody. I don't remember who it was
Mhm.
way back in the day. Lyrics.
Mhm.
When Yo Yo first came out, with she was with Ice Cube,
Mhm.
and she was coming hard on the lyrics.
Coming harder lyrics, exactly.
Now, what are these women doing now? They're trying to outshine each other on TikTok and on Instagram. Eh,
Yeah,
eh,
yeah, I think, and the thing is, even like back in the day when we had the women who were doing, who were leaning into their sexuality, like Kim, Foxy, Trina, and them like that, they still had some bangers. You know what I'm saying? They were still going hard. They still knew like how to rap. You know what I'm saying? Jackie O and Kaya. You know what I'm saying? You know Kaya with the whole "My Neck, My Back" thing. That's the first song she came out with. But like,
yeah, I didn't like that song.
yeah, I know, but I feel you. But like the thing is, when you actually heard her album, because that's back when they had CDs and still shit. But like, I actually heard that album, and I was like, she could actually rap. You know what I'm saying? She could actually rap. So it's like these, even though these women like they had a lot of their sexuality out there, they still knew how to rap. You know what I'm saying? And it's now Nicki, I'll give it to her, right? She's like the GOAT female rapper right now because she knows how to rap. She showed that on Monster, you know what I'm saying? When she was able to outshine Kanye, Rick Ross, and Jay-Z on a track. So Nicki got it. You feel me? But it's like when it comes to actual beefs, it seems she doesn't really know what to do, and that's kind of crazy for a rapper because as far as I know, battling has always been part of it. Ain't that right, Ed?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. The way that you came up in rap music back in the day was, first of all, you got together with your crew. You maybe threw some concerts in the park or whatever that people could come through, and the concerts were free. And then there was another crew that heard about you and wanted to come challenge you, and y'all would there would be a cipher. Y'all would battle back and forth, and the crowd would determine who won.
Mhm.
And the person who won was the one with the best lyrics, not the one who got the most likes on Instagram.
Yeah, that's how folks say social media was a mistake. What it is about social media, man. It's a double-edged sword because social media gave everyone a voice, but it also gave anyone a voice. You know what I mean? And not everybody deserves a voice. You know what I mean? Not just anyone should have a platform because like crazy as it sounds, we're gonna get to politics in a little bit, but crazy as it sounds, the mainstream, the person that's coming up on the right at the moment after the death of Charlie Kirk is fucking Nick Fuentes. That's an avowed
We already dealt with him.
neo-Nazi, you know?
I thought we already dealt with him.
Oh man.
Enacted.
Nah, it's
I thought we
fucking
already
that.
dealt with him. He's been bodied online more times than a few.
Oh yeah, more times
And
than a few.
so I mean, what platform does he have now that hasn't already been addressed or destroyed?
It's crazy, and the thing is like there's semi homoerotic like rumors around him too with him and Destiny and shit. It's kind of I don't know, it's kind of crazy because he speaks against that community all the time. So it's kind of strange that anyway we gotta still talk about the whole hip hop and the whole beef thing, but it does get a little bit into politics because one funny thing that I told someone one time, I was like, yo, if y'all really look at it, like the news right now, news networks are basically just 24-hour rap battles. If you really look at it, Fox News be dissing CNN be dissing Fox News. You know what I'm saying? It's basically a 24-hour rap battle, to tell you the truth.
It's interesting to see how hip hop has influenced the culture outside of the black community, outside of the hip hop world. How other folks have taken aspects of what the black community has created and applied it to themselves entirely out of context, but they're still using it.
They're still using it, yeah, because I see now because I know that disses between musicians used to happen back in the day, right? It used to be like subtle and sneak disses, and now they're being a lot more direct, and that was hip hop that caused that, because in hip hop you got to be direct towards your opponent. You feel me? Because it's usually just one person. It's usually just the MC, just the rapper. So you got to direct the other rapper. So you can't be subtle. And I'm seeing now that these bands and these country singers and because I know what's her name, the Swifties, yeah, Taylor Swift. I know she dropped a diss track against like Kim Kardashian or some shit like years ago. And I was surprised when I heard it. I was like, wow, she actually mentioned her. It's kind of crazy.
Yes, they will steal whatever they can. J-Man, I want to hear from you.
Oh, you should not want to hear from me. This is not my forte whatsoever. No experience with this stuff like at all.
When I started talking about the beefs, I immediately remembered the beef back in the late '80s between LL Cool J and Kool Moe Dee. Now, a lot of folks today have no idea who Kool Moe Dee is.
No, see, exactly. You talking about beefs that I don't even know these people.
Right, right. That's because he got bodied by LL Cool J, and everybody still knows who LL Cool J is because he went from being from one of the greatest rappers of all time to being an actor, much like Will Smith, but not quite on the same scale.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Like I remember Kool Moe Dee. Well, I know about it because like once I got into hip hop and I'm a big history person. I went into the history of it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I remember that beef too. LL and Kool Moe Dee, and thing is, people took LL for a joke, right? Like because technically, what Drake was during his first two albums, the Lover Boy that got bars. That's what LL was. You know what I mean?
Yes. As
Until
a matter of fact, that's what his name means. His name means ladies love Cool James.
Yeah, lady love Cool James. So people took him as a joke for a while until that beef with Kool Moe Dee, and then once he bodied him, everybody like, oh, okay, now
everybody forgot about Moe Dee.
That's real, huh?
Everybody forgot about Moe Dee.
Everybody forgot about him. Ooh, and then after that he came out with Mama Say Knock You Out, and everybody was like, okay, yeah, this is a guy who got serious.
Kool Moe Dee's response to Mama Said Knock You Out was what was that called? How You Like Me Now?
How You Like Me Now?
That's where people got that catchphrase. Well, how you like me now? That's because Moe Dee had a song called How You Like Me Now, and that's when he was talking about I'll take my whip and make him call himself Toby.
Oh,
that was on How You Like Me Now.
Okay.
And that's where you see a lot of rappers now use that section, that catchphrase. I'll make him call himself Toby, or I'll whip him good and make him sweat. All that came from the battle between Moe Dee and Cool J.
So a lot of the things that we say today, like a lot of the memes that we have came from rappers battling each other. You know what I'm saying? Which is kind of crazy, but like, yeah, man. So that's what I want to see. I want to see some new things. I want to see some tracks, some bars. That's what we want to see from the Barty gang and the Barbs. Yeah, I mean, instead of threatening to desecrate graves and shit. That's kind of insane.
think they should back off of trying to sell their ass so much and sell their lyricism.
Because you're already
I just
exactly they're already good looking women, so it's like that's gonna sell itself. So
yeah. Like you can have both. Like Missy Elliott back in the day. Like you can have both.
You can.
But
but there are things that we found out about Missy Elliott that we didn't know before. Wait,
Yeah.
What happened?
Yes, there are rumors about Missy Elliott being more of a Harvey Weinstein to women.
Oh, I had not heard about that.
Oh shit.
Oh yes. Let's see. There there was a couple of other female rappers. I think Sweetie and there was another one that was under Missy Elliott, and she made some accusations. I forget her name
like
though.
Sweetie, like our modern day Sweetie.
I have to look it up.
Sweetie? Oh,
I have to look it up.
I had not known about that. Yeah, definitely. We could talk about that at a certain time. We could because we got to bring that up. I had not known about that. That's a big one. But yeah, basically, yeah, selling their they should focus more on dropping the bars, y'all. So, but let's go ahead and get on to our next topic. JMan, can you bring up that article again of the woman who had to take out the strap and talk about that? See what we think about that.
Yes. See, that's my expertise, firearms. That's where that's my bread and butter there. So yesterday, it was an article making the rounds. It was a video first, is what it was, and I saw it on Reddit. Apparently, it was posted to X as well, but I don't got an account over there, so I wouldn't know. And what it was is there was this white man following and soliciting this black woman down the street for sex. And, they went back and forth a little bit with her clearly telling him, no, leave me alone, and things of that nature. And the black woman, props to her, she was recording herself. I assume it was her phone that she was using. And she caught him saying, "What if I jumped out and took it from you?" To which she responded, "You would die." And at that point, I would assume that she was concealed carrying, because he wouldn't have done this shit if she was open carrying. So I assume she probably lifted her shirt and just showed off whatever pistol she had. And he responded, "Oh, you got one of them? Nah, I was just kidding. I was talking shit." And then he turned the corner and he drove off. And I think that I want to give props to that woman. I don't know who she is. She's apparently still anonymous for her own safety, which is good for her. I'm not going to try and find out who she is or anything like that. But I think that I'm glad that she did something that I try to bring up whenever the topic of guns come around, is that I think more minorities, and black women in particular, should be like the most vocal proponents of being armed. Yeah, this is a perfect example of one where this guy, who knows what this guy could have done? If she didn't have something to protect herself with, he might have actually jumped out of that fucking car and tried to rape her.
Okay, yeah, it just happened in Indianapolis.
It happened in Indianapolis?
Yes. Yes, okay. I'm just looking up the article right now. This happened in Indianapolis. And the dude is driving a car that looks, I think it's a Dodge Charger or something. So he's driving a good muscle car, meaning if he wanted to, he could have run her down if he was really feeling that. But he presented himself to her in such a way that made it obvious that his intentions were not good. And she let him know that anything that you attempt to do to me will be met with serious repercussions. I applaud her for that.
I think that's I joke about it a lot in the Discord, with you guys and the other members. Although I exaggerate it very much for jokes. But my honest opinion about it is I do think that women need to be more proactive with their own self-defense. Because, this is a situation where you see nobody else is coming to save her. Okay, she was there by herself. What else could she have done? She was already walking away. She was trying to leave the situation. She already said no. And she said that repeatedly throughout the video. And that was just a last resort escalation on her part. It's not like there were any cops around to do anything about it. And it's not like she could have called them anyway. They wouldn't have gotten there in time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is really important for people, like I said, Black women in particular, to take your own protection into your own hands. Go out there and grab a gun. Guns are cheap these days, okay? You can go and get them for, I think, the cheaper and more reliable ones, especially in Glocks and stuff. You'll find them for like 400. They have deals all the time. You can go get one, go grab yourself a case of ammo, head down to your range or whatever, and practice with that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, here's what I would say: being what's going on in this country, what's happening in this country right now, I would say that if you are able to do it, if you are able-bodied, you know what I mean, uh, train your mind, train your body, and yeah, train in, you know, knowing how to defend yourself. Unfortunately, with firearms, you know what I'm saying? Because one thing I learned is that in this country, in our society, power respects power, and the most amount of power you can have is the power to take someone's life away. Unfortunately, that's what this society is. Yeah, I mean, they respect that. Like, you guys know, I do streams, right? Streams on religion, streams on politics. I get disrespected a lot. Yeah, I mean, I get people like to emasculate me until I tell them I was in the military, or until I tell them, yeah, I know how to handle myself around firearms. Once that happens, the tone changes completely. It's 100% 80-degree on their tone. You see what I'm saying? It's the same thing when if you look at a lot of, you know, conservative people, both men and women, they will take a look at, you know, men like myself, who are more on the left, and try to emasculate us. But you know who they never try to emasculate? The Panthers. Never once have you ever seen them try to emasculate the Panthers. Why is that? Because the Panthers knew what to do around firearms. You see what I'm saying? The deacons of defense never try to emasculate them. And then when I tell them that, you know, yeah, I know how to handle weapons, that attempting to emasculate me completely goes away. They really do see it as a powerful weapon, right? I'm not saying this that we need to be like this because of we want respect from white folks. Is the fact that in this society, our group of people are gonna need to know how to handle ourselves with those things in order for what J-Man is talking about to happen a lot less often. You know what I mean? And it's not just, you know, the talking down of disrespect, but disrespect in any other way, socially, politically, because and yeah, it might be a little bit of a fear thing with them already, but they're already afraid of us. So we might as well learn how to defend ourselves as well, because we know for ourselves we're peaceful people, but we might as well need to learn how to defend ourselves in case, you know, anything were to happen, especially if dark enlightenment gets to the end game that it wants to get to, which is basically re-enslaving people as an enslavement class. The person who created that philosophy even defended slavery and said that, quote unquote, some races, quote unquote, are better in slavery. So if they get what they want, if dark enlightenment happens the way that they wanted, we already know who the slave class is going to be. You see what I mean? So that's where I'm at with it. I want to hear from James and Ed. What you guys think?
Like, okay. With the power thing, and I've kind of been telling people about this for a while now, is that, like, it's not about, you know, you're going out of your way to strike fear into people. It's you got to make sure that niggas don't think shit is sweet out here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just because you may approach people on the left, and I think it's absolutely hilarious that people on the right think that Democrats don't own guns. That is a hilarious thing to me. But there needs to be a certain degree of respect, and it doesn't need to be mutual respect. It doesn't need to be the kind of respect that you may have for like a neighbor that helps you out. It's the kind of respect that somebody with a diametrically opposed opinion has of you, that knows that if they push a line, there's going to be pushback. You know, these are the kinds of people, these are bullies, like, flat out.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best word to use for them. They're fucking bullies. These are the people that think they can get away with shit because they know that the opposition or the person that they're trying to bully doesn't have the power to push back against them. These are the people that will take advantage of women, young women. These are the people that will take advantage of minorities who don't have the financial resources they do, the educational resources they do. And they explicitly put that on this, you know, on this priority scale where they're like, these are the people we should go after, and these are the people we could push around because we know for a fact that they don't have the capability to push back. And that rhetoric within our community as Black people, and like J-Man said, especially with Black women, needs to stop. We need to show them that there is only so much that they can get away with before we start showing our fucking teeth. Because I think it's absolutely ridiculous. And I also think it's absolutely sad that these people look at our community not only as animals, not only as we're less than, but also we are capable of being pushed around. And I'm like, nah, absolutely not.
Yeah, exactly. Ed, I know you got something to say.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100% with Black folks definitely needing to show that we have the ability to defend ourselves. I come from a different perspective in so much as I'm not a gun person. I don't really like guns, and I'm the only male in my family that didn't go into the military. I went into the private sector because at the time it was just much more lucrative for me. However, I did not neglect self-defense. I started training in martial arts when I was 14. And so far, I've gained black belts in 3 different martial arts, but I've trained in, oh my God, something like 10 different martial arts. So, and on the daily, when I leave my apartment, I'm wearing a body camera, just like the police have.
There you go.
I'm wearing a body camera. So you want to say some foul shit to me? You want to come at me greasy? I'm making sure I capture all of that. And if you come toward me, I'm going to make sure that I go home with a trophy, and it's going to come from your body. Because I guarantee you, it doesn't matter if you have a gun or anything like that. You step to me, I'm breaking something off of you.
Man said, I'm getting my pound of flesh. Not a penny short, not a gram shy.
Yeah,
I seriously think that especially our people, back in the 80s, there used to be this huge push for Black folks learning martial arts, and we had martial arts icons like Jim Kelly, who now is resting in peace, and other Black folks who were big in martial arts. I trained under Grandmaster Ozzie Wright in Philadelphia. I trained under a student of Grandmaster Marty Manuel in South Jersey. Fantastic, huge proponents of Black self-defense. And while I personally don't believe in carrying a gun, if carrying a gun gives you the confidence to look another person in the face and say, "Step to me, I dare you," then you do that. But you don't start the fight, but you damn sure finish it.
Absolutely. It's just like how Malcolm X said, you know what I mean? Be respectful, be cordial, follow all the laws. But if someone puts their hands on you, you send them to the cemetery. You know what I mean? And
Any means necessary.
Yeah, any means necessary. These are the type of mindsets that we're going to have, especially for things that are going on right now. You know what I mean? Which kind of leads me into the third story, probably the most important thing that we can talk about right now. Excuse me, which is the ICE raids. You guys heard of those, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So just to, for anyone watching who hasn't known about this yet, in case you're living under a rock, essentially, ICE, the immigration enforcement, because immigration and customs enforcement, they invaded an entire Black building in Chicago, zip tied men, women, and children, zip tied and detained Black American citizens, and essentially were extremely cruel. One person interviewed noted that these ICE agents were like, "Oh, fuck these kids," you know what I mean? While it's 2 a.m. and they have them in zip ties, and I've been in zip ties. They're extremely uncomfortable, and I know that they weren't zip tying them with their hands in front of them. They were zip tying them with their hands behind them. And I've been in that situation before. Extremely uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? So this is traumatizing. Like, the entire building was ransacked, doors blown off, whole entire apartments like completely trashed, and they just left there. And like, these people are just proud of what they've done. Completely traumatized this community. You know, it's getting to the point where the people who still go out there and do content on, you know, black men, black women, this gender warring. If you're still out there doing content on, you know, black Americans, FBA versus, you know, immigrants, whatever, African immigrants and tethers or whatever, I don't think y'all seeing the bigger picture here. Dark Enlightenment literally says to reinstitute slavery. What do you think they're going to use to do that? They're going to use the police state to do that. You know what I mean? And just recently, it was noted that ICE wants to have an entire like mass surveillance on our phones, on our social media, all of that. You know what I mean? So when it comes to like, we can't play around anymore when it comes to these issues. But like, this is one of the most serious, like most egregious abuses of police power that we've seen in our modern times. And I don't think folks are ready for what's going to happen next, because like we have a whole bunch of bots on, you know, Twitter, on Threads, on Facebook saying that they're getting rid of illegal Africans, not, you know, black Americans. Black Americans can't be deported. And it's like, if you have people agreeing with that, I'm like, okay, so that means black Americans can get, you know, abused, detained, lynched, but at least you can't get deported. I mean, okay. Yeah, okay.
That's fine. Being deported, that's the step too far.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, okay, word flex, bro. You know what I mean? Like, okay.
He's over here beating you with a flashlight and nightsticks, and he's saying, "At least I'm not being deported."
Yeah, it's like, okay, you know what I mean? And it's I think I'm afraid of what's gonna happen for, you know, black people in this country in the foreseeable future, because I'm not sure if we're ready for what they're preparing for what's coming, especially with Trump saying that these inner cities are going to be used for quote unquote training grounds. You see what I mean? Let's go ahead and go around the table, because I know I'm immigrant born, and I know James is as well, but I especially want to hear from you know, the black Americans on the panel, you know, who've been here, you know, their ancestry is from here, grandparents laid their bones here, you know what I mean? Ed and J-Man, I definitely want to hear from y'all on what y'all think about this.
I sincerely detest how ICE is treating American citizens. I detest how ICE is treating people, period, a citizen or not. The law in the United States blatantly says that you cannot use the military to police American citizens, because the military is used to defend our country from enemies that are foreign or domestic. No, well, yeah, foreign or domestic. However, when you use the military to start policing citizens, the citizens start looking like the enemy.
Yeah,
that's extremely problematic, because now what you will eventually see, you're already seeing parts of it already. You're seeing the haves versus the have-nots. This argument has been going on forever, but now you're seeing the police presence being used by the haves versus the have-nots. What you'll eventually see is a huge dividing line among black people, because the haves among black people will count themselves as being one of the haves among non-black people. Whereas the non-black people are like, no, that ain't it. You one of them. I don't care what you think you have. You one of them.
It did happen. I'll let you finish. Actually, my bad.
No, go for it. Go for it.
There was in the Black Men subreddit, there was a post, and I had never heard of these two people before in my life until I seen this. I guess they're brothers. They're called the Hodge twins, so I assume they're brothers.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, the Hodge Coons.
So I don't know much about. I think the video told me all I think I need to know about them, and their post especially. But they made a post. I believe it was on X, and again, I only saw it because it was on the Reddit. I don't have an account over there, and it was asking somebody, some other white person, and he added them, and it said, I don't remember the exact words, but it was to the effect of, "Hey, I know you only allow white people in your," I believe it was a Discord server, in your Discord server. Can you make an exception for us? We're over 40% white. I don't know if they did a DNA test for that or whatever. But
no, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Back and said, "God bless the Hodge twins, but no."
I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about, and it wasn't a Discord server. It wasn't a Discord server. There are there is this group of white people, and I believe they're in Arkansas, and what they're trying to do is set up a white only community.
Jesus
where
Christ.
in order to live among them or to do business with them, you have to be 100% white. So what happened was the Hodge twins communicated with the founder of this particular community and said, "Hey, we love what you guys are doing. We're over 40% white ourselves. Would you let us in?" And the guy responded exactly as you said. God bless the Hodge twins, but no. That the Hodge I believe it was O'Shea Duke Jackson that said the Hodge twins got their Negro wake up call.
Definitely. Yo, what's crazy is that it happened on Twitter too. Remember when Charlie Derp got when Charlie Kirk got shot, right? And then it caused this whole thing of this whole protest of white men fight back, white men fight back. There was this profile on Twitter that says, quote unquote, as a black American. I don't think that person was a black American for real, but it quote unquote said, as a black American, I would probably fight on side of you. Yeah, exactly. Yes. It said, I will fight beside you. I'll probably fight beside you like you did during the Civil War. And one person said, "We whites got this. You can help us by getting the fuck off our land." It's like, yo,
I saw that.
Do you Negroes see now? Are y'all seeing yet? It's insanity.
Think you're not black if you want to, but that's not what they see.
Exactly.
Like there's so many that want to count themselves on the side of the other man as opposed to the brother man. Why? I couldn't tell you. I don't know what the self-hate is about, but I do not subscribe to it, and I don't recommend it for anybody else either. It's not a healthy outlook.
Yeah, it's completely unhealthy, and I don't get it. James, what do you say, James?
I'm not black, I'm OJ. We all remember that.
Right? Yep, I remember that.
I remember that.
We all remember that. OJ Simpson thought he wasn't one of them ones until he got into that courtroom and figured out real quick. And just like we said, bro, the Coon twins are finding out real quick is that you can't erase what you look like on the outside. If nobody knows who you are in rural Alabama and you get pulled over, guess what?
Mm-hmm.
You black.
You're black.
Then you go pull out your YouTube channel or pull out your fucking Twitter account, go through all your posts. Look, officer, look, I'm one of you, I swear.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, hey, fellas, why are you bothering me? I hate Negroes just as much as you do. Yeah, but you're one of them. Remember? You one of them. That makes you a little bit worse, actually.
Yeah, exactly. It makes you
that would make white people might dislike you a little bit more than they dislike other black folks. It's like, wait, not only are you willing to sell out your own people just to be considered on the side of those with power, you're willing to do it to their faces.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we know we cannot trust you. You need to be eliminated first.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, what's crazy about that, I used to go ahead and research this a lot, right? Like racial things between. There used to be a website called Stormfront, and on Stormfront, that's what it was. It was a white supremacist type of thing, right? And one person actually made a post on there that got off of it and caused an entire discussion. This was pre-Twitter days, by the way, but it was a whole discussion that happened when the person said, how do y'all feel about, the tokens, the people that we can use to use against other black people, those who want to be around us. He said, I even got inboxed by a few people who said that they would not only, willingly participate in being my slave, but will try to get other people to help me enslave others, I'm saying, stuff like that. I'm talking about neo-Nazis were on there saying, don't trust those types. We should eliminate those first. Exactly what Ed said. We should eliminate those types first because they're untrustworthy. They're willing to sell out their own people. So they're willing to sell out their own people. The moment if their people get into power, they're going to sell us out. You know what I'm saying? So we should eliminate those who are willing to sell out their own people. We should eliminate them first. That's exactly what they said. You know what I'm saying? So folks like the Hodge Coons, Coon Owens, and anybody else, like they're all going to be eliminated first. If a Nazi regime were to ever come back, which is possible,
Yeah, with the whole like the code switching thing, and that's what I've always found crazy. Is like you either have to really, really, really hate your own community, or really, really, really love the other community you're trying to do tricks for, or some combination of both, and just be absolutely delusional out of your mind to truly believe that you would be accepted as one of them and not just as a pet, that they're not just going to use you as some sort of black turned white martyr that says, oh, look, I have black friends and this is your black friend, like one of the Hodge twins. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's
I
ridiculous.
Think people care about it from a pet perspective, because like you guys are bringing up, some of them are, you know, we'll say I'll be your fucking butler or slave or whatever. I think even from that perspective, it's so that's your picture of yourself. You wake up, look in the mirror, and that's what you see yourself as. Like that's the best you think that you can aspire to be.
Well, I would like you to consider one thing. For some of these people, it is in fact a sexual fetish.
Oh yeah.
Because the proliferation of social media has also, because everything that happens in technology goes first is implemented by two things: war and pornography.
Yeah.
No matter what advancement in technology happens, it's first utilized by war and pornography. So what you see are some people are expressing their sexual fetish of being dominated, and a lot of people have racial fetishes, a lot of them.
Yeah.
And a lot of our people have these racial fetishes. I've seen so many posts from black women who openly say that they want to be some white man's bedwench.
Yeah.
And to be treated that way, to be passed around among his white friends as his little black pet. They say this openly. So what you might be seeing with these people who go, yeah, I want to join their cause and I have no problem. I'll be their butler. I'll be their slave, whatever. Some of these people are expressing their sexual fetishes.
Isn't that's still really odd to me, because there are places and even services that you can go and find that. You don't have to appeal to like literal, white supremacists and stuff. They're just normal people. Well, I don't know that I'd call them. You know what? I'm not going to go into no king shaming. I ain't going to say it. I don't know that they're.
All I would say,
there are people that will do that for you and then leave you alone afterwards, right? They're not going to actively participate in trying to bring you down as a person or anything.
Like
if that's something that you want for, if that's whatever you got inside of you that you need to work out, or that's just what you want, that's cool. But there are people that you are in places that you can go for that. You don't have to go to, fucking Arkansas and, beg a motherfucker to let you into his all-white community just so you can get dick down.
Yeah.
Well, for a lot of people, they don't want to play. They don't want to play. They want to live it. They want to live it 100%. And that's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. I just want you to remember this one phrase. Not all skin folk are kinfolk.
Definitely. And you know something, J-Man, about that? Like, here's what I would say, right? There are people who are just attracted to a different race of people. That's fine. I've met black men who only like white women, and they're like, it's not even no diss to black women. I just way more to white women, and that's fine. You know what I mean? I met black women who said the same. No diss to black men. It's just white men just turn me on. Cool. You feel what I'm saying? And just like how you said, you can join forums, you can join, these sex clubs that are specifically for that. Now, I mean, there are plenty of subreddits of white men dating black women, black men dating white women. There are plenty of Facebook groups, subreddits. Oh, my bad. Subreddits, groups, local sex clubs in your area that will hook you up with that, because it's like, that's what you desire, right? All good and well. Now, I would say there are only two kinks that I will ever shame: scat play, which is, stuff that comes out the other end. Yeah, I'll kink shame that. Scat play and race play, because race play is not the first thing I was talking about, where you just attract to the person you want to have sex. I'm talking about race play where you want to be denigrated and debased as a slave and everything like that. That I'm gonna kink shame that, because that shit is just weird, bro. Like, our ancestors were taken through such dehumanization. Yeah, exactly.
Our ancestors weren't role playing.
Their own wordplay. You know what I mean? They went through such horrific dehumanization. And for you to make that sexual is just it's just gross to me. Yeah, I mean, now I'm not gonna tell anybody else that you gotta kink shame it. I'm just saying for myself, that's why I do. You know what I mean? Because it's just gross that you would take something that was so dehumanizing and horrific and make it sexual. Like there was a time when they did like that was an actual porn, right? Like Nazis and Jewish girl, like a Nazi guard and a Jewish girl in a Holocaust museum. That was actually a porn for a while until Jewish people said, nah, take that shit off. You know what I mean? Now you don't see that anymore. You have to go deep into the recesses of the internet for you to find shit like that. But even porn companies will not do some shit like that anymore. But for us, it's all good and well. Like nah, bro. That's why I keep shaming in my opinion. What do you guys
One
say?
of the things that is fed into the fetish community has been remember, well, you probably don't, the black exploitation era of filmmaking in the 70s.
Yeah.
A lot of that has been used for the basis for a lot of fetishization in the current kink community.
Mm-hmm.
So there are white people who want the detective Shaft to come and rescue them and then dick them down,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
or they want to pretend that they're in one of these old slave movies like Drum or Mandingo or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and they want to have sex with this incredibly massive male slave who is putting his life on the line by dicking her down
Mm-hmm.
and shit like that. This stuff is stuff that used to be in the mainstream in black exploitation.
Yeah.
So it's nothing new to me. And I will admit, having been involved in the fetish community, because I'm old, so I've done a lot of stuff. I haven't been involved in the fetish community. I've seen a lot of it firsthand. And while I personally don't care for race play and all that kind of good stuff, I've seen it. And I've had white men come up to me and say about how they would love to watch me dick down their wife.
Oh yeah. It's happened to me.
And I'm like, yeah, cool. If I was in the mood for that, sure, no problem. But you ain't the one.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. We kind of got really away from the whole ice subject, but these things
We're
kind of
very much in it. We're
Yeah.
very much in it because all of this is related.
yeah.
All of this is related.
Yeah, true. It's all related because no, it really makes me like concerned about are black people in general like ready for what's gonna come next because we're so atomized as a community. You know what I mean? We're all really far apart. Like all of us may know locally of some sort of like organization that does community work and organization and political education and stuff like that. But I don't know those communities. You feel what I'm saying? Like I don't know those organizations. There isn't one central platform where I can even find it out. People can say, go on Facebook or just Google some things, but there is no central platform where I can see what organizations I can organize with in Philly and call them. You know what I mean? What organizations that I can, call up in California and say, hey, down here in Florida, we got this going on. Do you have this issue in California? Yeah, bro, here's some materials you can use. I can't, there's no central organization for us to do that. And I think we're desperately are going to need one because it's getting down to the wire. You know what I mean? We might be in our 5th hour of freedom in America. You see what I'm saying? So we got to look out for that. What do you guys think?
I think with what we understand about the direction that this country has taken and how very far right neo-fascist individuals have more or less groomed this country to become what it has become concurrently with the current administration in office and everything else, we're seeing the needle push that threshold towards there is a definitive and openly, and that's the key word here, openly obvious push towards minorities becoming what we used to be and white people now pushing themselves further and further into power. And like you mentioned before about dark enlightenment, and for anybody listening that isn't familiar with what the dark enlightenment is, it was a doctrine that was originally perpetuated a while ago by Thomas Hobbes, but more currently perpetuated by an individual named Curtis Yarvin, who looks like a fucking raccoon that came out of a dumpster. But he decided that he wanted to make this extremely strong push, particularly towards the National Conservatism Conference, where he wanted people to see this country in the same light that Hitler saw his country back in the early 1900s. And the whole point of this was that he genuinely believed that there were certain races that deserved to be in power, certain races that deserved to have control, and other races that deserve to be subservient to that power and control. And we're seeing it right now. And I don't know, and I'm going to bring this up right real quick. Hopefully, nobody in our community is on Truth Social unironically. But if you are, you would have seen a very recent Truth Social post by the current president that openly talked about convening and consulting with the person whose name is signed first on Project 2025. He called them out by first name. It's on Truth Social. Yep. It's on Truth Social. And this was the same doctrine that Trump himself and many of the people who voted for him decided to pretend didn't fucking exist. And now all of a sudden, that push towards exactly what we're talking about here, neo-fascists, we're seeing it. And it's happening. And it affects our community significantly disproportionately than, let's say, the Asian community, the Jewish community. And that becomes a problem in the future. And, you know, it all comes back to everything we talked about today. But, you know, to wrap it up neatly in a bow, it's like, this is a threat towards us. This is a threat towards our community. This is a threat towards our way of life. And however any one individual within our community feels comfortable addressing this conflict, that's fine. But it's getting very much to a point where we need to address this shit. The comments I saw and heard saw online and heard in person after Charlie Kirk's assassination by somebody on the right-hand side of the political spectrum, mind you. And we're still getting hit up at historically black colleges like we did something wrong. And this wasn't even one of our people. This is the threat that we're facing. And I believe that it needs to be met, right? Like there's an old Norse saying that's like, you should not have to wait for a problem to arrive at your doorstep before you deal with it. And this is exactly that.
So coming from the hood in Philadelphia, we grew up with a very similar philosophy. Is if you know someone is looking for you, you find them first. You don't wait for them to find you. You find them first. And if you can't find them, you go find somebody they care about, and then they will find you.
Yep. What's beef?
Exactly. What's beef?
Beef is when your moms ain't safe up in the streets. Yeah, he said it. You know,
beef is when you need to roll 30 deep.
Yeah, and you know,
beef is when ICU guaranteed to be in ICU.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what's that was bars. I ain't gonna lie, that was hard. that was hard.
That was biggie.
Yeah, that was big. Yeah, that's hard. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. When I first heard what's beef, I was like, damn, that's hard. But what I was gonna say, I was talking to a friend about this earlier, right? He was like, yo, I heard from somebody at my job that says that him and him, his girl, and a few other people, they're about to put money together and just buy like a community house, like buy like a 3-4 bedroom house, and they all just live in there in order to just save on money. You know what I'm saying? Because so we might as well, because we're paying, you know, like what, $1,800, $1,900 for this 1 or 2 bedroom apartment, when we can, you know, spend like less that amount and just get like a 2-3 bedroom house for $2,000. I'm only putting $1,000 in. The other person putting $1,000. The other person putting $1,000, and you know, we good, and we have everything for that we need for the housing, the space that we need, all that good stuff, right? I'm thinking that we're going to start seeing more of that. The way that America is going, we may see more people sharing homes, um, more people doing that type of thing, like community housing, or like private like buildings, like storage, and turning those into like retrofit units and having club housing and stuff like that. We might see more of that, you know what I mean? Because things are getting more and more expensive, and the government becoming more and more authoritarian and pushing us society to segregate a community more and more. Folks might as well start doing that, and I'm not sure how that's going to look. It's going to look way different from what we see now. But a lot of people have said that segregation can help the black community. I'm not sure about that. I think that's wrong, but still, I think we may see more and more of that. You know what I mean? Of more of an atomized country where the certain ethnic groups only stay amongst each other. You know what I'm saying? And are on high alert for defense. Well, what do you guys think?
I think that idea of community housing and all that kind of stuff makes the concept of being able to defend ourselves somewhat easier to swallow. But I think that in execution, it's going to be extremely difficult because too many people are too used to my own personal space, quote unquote. So I don't necessarily want to share space with someone else, even someone who looks like me, because I don't want them getting too close. But then again, we have on the opposite side, we have all of these people who are lamenting the fact that they don't have closeness with other people.
Yeah.
How is this supposed to work? Very good question there. It's like oil and water. I have no idea how it's supposed to work.
Yeah, because we're extremely atomized. You know, I mean, we're used to, I'm getting it for me, and I'm good on my own. You know what I'm saying? And my family's good. I'm not worried about nobody else. You know what I'm saying? That's the attitude that is right now. So what's gonna happen? You feel me? I think that's why people are pushing more, or like wouldn't mind segregation happening again, even though I think that's a stupid idea. How about you, J-Man and James? What do you guys think?
Yeah, so as for the segregation is better, at first, and on its face, it just sounds silly. That because for one, segregation, it was a legal thing. Like, that wasn't even just like a cultural, well, it was, but it was a legally enforced thing. But I think when you think about it a little harder, what the point of what they're trying to say, anybody who says that, I think what the point that they're getting at is, though segregation legally was a terrible and stupid thing, it forced the black community, or at least communities of black people, to have their own things. So they needed to have their own hospitals, their own food programs. That goes back to the Black Panthers as well. Like we were talking about earlier, setting up, lunches and breakfast for kids, setting up your own, having your own security, have your own hospitals and things like that, because there was literally no other option. You couldn't go to other white places and expect the same kind of service, if you could expect any service at all. So you had to have your own things. And so when I hear people say, black people were better under segregation, I think that's what they're getting at. But it's like a rose-tinted view of it. They're not considering the fact that that was a legally enforceable thing that resulted in black people being harmed by police and just by white people in general. So I get the underlying point, and I do agree with that I think it's important for black people, for us to have our own things, whether that be our own, community defense, getting up some lunches or breakfast for the kids, school supplies to send them off with, our own hospitals and things of that nature. I agree with that point. I just don't think it makes sense to try and say that it was okay from a legal standpoint.
Would you say, James?
J-Man?
Oh, go ahead, Ed. My bad.
Please,
go ahead.
James. No, let James go, because I would like to address something that J-Man said, but I'm more than willing to listen to James.
Yeah, the segregate. Yeah, I think like putting in the perspective of what they were trying to say is that we just need to come more together as a community, because like you said, Volcy, I think we are too bifurcated. Like there's too many of us scattered around. And I think not even just like physically, like a population density thing, but also from the perspective of just, I truly believe that more black people now are more opposed in terms of opinions towards either the political spectrum or how certain things should be done than it used to be. And I think because of the nature of our community back then, where we were forced into these pockets legally, it just created this greater sense of community. And I think that also led to more purposeful and meaningful action and intentful action, which then, of course, led to us finally getting the rights that we deserve within whatever capacity white people would claim that we got our rights back. But the whole idea of segregating, which the term is definitely has a negative connotation, but the idea of just purposefully segregating our community away from everything else, I think long term will have a much greater negative impact than it would, simply because the resources that our community would need in order to facilitate that change, we just don't have. And a lot of what we have, and a lot of our, the literature that has been published on us, which has completely negated a lot of the other racial rhetoric and institutional scientific research that is denigrated us, has helped. I mean, we talk about fascism, but like neo-slavery, the book that was written on neo-slavery, which is considered like the godfather of neo-slavery, was written by a white dude. A lot of the police studies that purposely show us being targeted by white people and by police patrolling, a lot of that study published by Princeton, Duke, University of Chicago, very predominantly white universities. I think there are aspects of what white people have done and the resources that they've, quote unquote, heavy unquote unquote, have shared with us has helped. But the idea of completely segregating away from that society, it is hard for me to see that, for sure.
Yeah, go ahead and know what you was gonna say, Ed, because I want to add on to that as well. Go ahead, Ed.
So what J-Man was talking about, and that our segregation was legally enforced. Yes, we were segregated from white people. We were forced to be segregated from white people. So what did we do? We thrived. We built our own communities. Rosewood, Black Wall Street. There is a list of at least 20 Black communities that sprang up post Civil War, late 1800s, early 20th century. What happened to these communities? Every single one of them was destroyed by white people. Every single one of them. And they all used basically the same excuse. Well, a black man tried to attack and assault a white woman, or a little black boy whistled at a black girl. So that was their excuse to come into these thriving, wealthy Black communities and destroy them, completely decimate them, so that they no longer existed, so that nobody even knew that this wealthy, thriving Black community was here at one time. There are so many of our people who don't know that. Mm-hmm. But this is what happens. They forced us to be segregated. And so when we decided to pool our resources and to put our minds to making ourselves thrive, they saw that and said, no, we wanted them to be miserable, but they're not miserable. So we have to figure out how to make them miserable, even though they're doing exactly what we wanted them to do, staying the fuck away from us. So we stayed the fuck away from them. But what did they do? They came into our community and destroyed it. And then this happened all over again in the 80s, when we started having, we were having really good communities that in Oakland, in Philadelphia, and in other large cities around the country. We had thriving Black communities. And what happened? First we had crack come into the community, and then we had HIV come in. Mm-hmm. Because the destruction of the Black community is what they ultimately wanted in the first place. Not just for us to no longer be a part of their communities, just to segregate us. Not only should we be segregated, but we should be suffering, is what they're talking about.
Segregation and suffering. There we go.
And when we didn't suffer, they decided to try to make us suffer by destroying our communities. So these ice raids, the way that these ice raids are going, and the way that they are evolving, because if you look at it, you can see them evolving. Mm-hmm. They're coming for us.
And I wanted to add just a little extra into this. Like, it is true that black communities thrived still being segregated these from white people, right? That is true. But one thing that I always add in the context is that despite the fact that there was Rosewood and Greenwood and Seneca Village and Overtown, which was the Harlem of the South in Miami, two things that I would say is that the majority of black folks weren't living there. You see what I'm saying? The majority of black folks were living outside of those paradigms. You know what I'm saying? So when during under segregation, not every black person suffered, but a little bit over half of us were. You see what I'm saying? But the other thing that I would add is that, for example, Greenwood, right? Greenwood in Tulsa, it was actually rebuilt. The reason it doesn't exist anymore is because of eminent domain. Like, Overtown was a thriving black neighborhood called the Harlem of the South in Miami. What destroyed Overtown? Why is it the projects now? Because of I-95. You know what I mean? Because of eminent domain, and they just built a highway over it. So when it comes to segregation, I've always warned people of one thing, not just about the resource issue, because at the end of the day, we got to call a spade a spade. The majority of the things that we use, that black people use in this country, we don't own the resource to that. There is no black version of Amazon. That doesn't exist. You know what I mean? There is no black version of what we're doing now on Discord. That does not exist. And even if we try to create one, you have to find a web hoster. You have to find a data center to hold all of that. We don't own any of those. You know what I'm saying? And even if you do find a black web host, a black owned web host, is there a black owned data center? There is not. You see what I'm saying? So we just do not have the logistical connection to completely segregate. And what I would say is that if you actually want that, I think I do agree with the concept of there needs to be a degree of separation, right? That I agree with that part, because when we did have our own thing, just like Ed brought up, we thrived. So a degree of separation should or can exist, right? The issue that really concerns me is the power issue. You know what I mean? Because we don't have a separate country with separate land. Even the Native Americans don't have that. Even though Native American reservations are technically their own countries, they're administered by the federal government. So the government can still go in there and do whatever the fuck. They just have more of a leeway because it's technically their land, so they can sue the federal government. And a lot of times the government just doesn't want to go through that headache of doing that. Black people don't have the same thing. We just don't. You see what I'm saying? So segregation will be a little bit more difficult, but separation, and a way for us to culturally and economically separate from them, that is possible to do, because there are black owned banks. There are predominantly black neighborhoods, predominantly black schools, and we can pull the resources to have predominantly black hospitals, predominantly black, not just hospitals, but banks, supermarkets, logistical companies like truckers and stuff like that. I've always said that black people do not own an industry where if we stop doing something, the entire industry will shut down, probably except for music and sports. You see what I'm saying? If every single athlete doesn't want to go to work tomorrow, sports will probably shut down, probably except for hockey. You know what I'm saying? If every single rapper, singer doesn't want to do music tomorrow, the entire music industry will become boring as shit. You know what I'm saying? Even country, because believe it or not, they copy from us too. You see what I'm saying? So without our creativity, a lot like music and sports will get very, very boring. But will the country keep operating? Yeah, it will, because we don't own any industry. You see what I'm saying? So I always said logistics should be the industry that we go after. Warehousing, trucking, stuff like that. That should be the industry that black people make ourselves the majority of. We can take that over very, very easily, because without logistics, nothing in this country runs. You feel me? So if we there's no infrastructure. Exactly. So if we build up the infrastructure for ourselves to do these things, well, we can be independent without them. That's what we need to prepare for and need to do, right? Like even like I was saying before, the data centers and the web hosts, those need logistics. They need logistics. They need someone to bring the wires to them. They need someone to actually be out there, connecting things and shipping things back and forth. They still need that. You know what I mean? But do they depend on us for that? They don't. we have to get into a position where they do depend on us, because the only thing they depend on us right now is for creativity. You know what I mean? They're gonna be bored at entertainment. They're gonna be bored as shit without us. We know that. They're gonna be bored without us. But can the economy still run? Can it still function? Yeah, it could function. Yeah, I mean, it just won't be as creative anymore. Our creativity won't be there, and that actually still is a problem. That actually still is a problem for, you know, the tech industry, the finance industry, because guess what? They still need, in order for someone to create new tech, in order for someone to create new ways of finance, in order for someone to create new ways of surgery, what do you need to be? Gotta be creative. You know what I'm saying? So it'll still be there for a moment, but we need to put ourselves in a position where this country cannot function without us. You know what I'm saying? And are we there at the moment? I can't say that we are, but this is what I would say that we need to do. We need to find a way in order to make sure that we can be independent without them. You see what I'm saying? Because if I lose my job tomorrow and the white union doesn't want to hire me to be an electrician, I'm kind of shit out of luck. Makes sense? You know what I'm saying? So that's what we need. Because we can do it in Seneca Village and Rosewood, Overtown, Greenwood, Rose. All of them show that we can do it. You know what I mean? All show that we can do it. So we got to just prepare.
As soon as we try, they're going to come after us again. As soon as we try, they're going to come after us again and try to destroy whatever infrastructure we try to put in place for ourselves. They're going to do that. They've done it before. They will do it again.
Yeah.
And on going on that point, one thing that I've come to learn about it through a podcast I've been listening to. Podcast is called Black Freethinkers. She doesn't make them anymore, but it ran all the way up until 2023. What an idea she's talked about, the host Kim has talked about a lot, is that, like we are all saying here, we can make the wealth, we can make the communities that prosper. The issue is that we can't protect it. Or rather, well, I'm not even going to say we don't. That implies we're choosing not to. That's not true at all. We can't protect it. I don't know. Maybe it's this aversion to having the means of violence, or maybe it's you see in the way that happened when the Panthers were around and how they were dealt with. So maybe that's kind of like a thing Black people have said, it's not worth trying to go down that route. I don't know. It might have been a bit of the integration thing, but we can make all of these things. We can make our own financial independence and get into these sectors, like you were saying, and build up our communities. The issue is that we can't protect it. We haven't found a way to do that.
Right. Even after the Black Panthers, there was a separatist group in Philadelphia called Move that popped up around 1972, and they were trying to build up their own Black infrastructure with their own education systems, their own housing, their own means of gaining money. I don't remember exactly what they were doing, but in 1977, I believe it was, there was a house that they had in Powelton Village that the police raided and then bulldozed and destroyed and basically pounded into the ground. And then 1985, Move had moved to another part of West Philadelphia, had gained another house, had their people living in there. And what happens? The mayor of Philadelphia authorized the chief of police to drop a bomb on them and destroy what's between 2 and 4 entire city blocks of housing. And this happened in Philadelphia. I saw it happen. I was 12 years old when it happened. And it happened on Osage Avenue, and I lived on Osage Avenue. It didn't happen on my block, but it happened on my street. Anytime Black folks decide that they are going to do for self, you will find the white authority come in and destroy that ability to do for self, so that the Black man must stay dependent upon the white man for all of his needs. No matter how much they want us separate from them, they want us dependent upon them. Because dependency means that we don't have power. So you can see some of it now with the Black Israelites, even though they're crazy as all hell.
Mhm.
But you see them trying to set up their own separate systems and ways of being.
Mhm.
But they're going to meet with massive opposition, and if they go too far, the government's going to come in and put a foot in their ass, just like they've done every single goddamn time up till now.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So that means any preparations that we can make can't make too much noise with it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because they will go ahead and try to stop it. You know what I mean? You got to be very, very, very careful on how you're doing it.
I 100% agree.
Mhm. Yeah, man. All right, guys. Man, this was a conversation, and we definitely got to have more of these. And next week, we'll see. We'll keep our eyes on the news and see what else is going on, and we will definitely come back with more discussion and opinions. For now, we're gonna sign off. My name is Volcy Thoughts. You can find me on YouTube, Volcy Thoughts, TikTok, and on Twitter as well, even though I don't use Twitter that much because it became a bastion of racism and diaspora wars. So, fuck Twitter for now. But that's where you guys can find me. Let's go around the table. Ed, where can they find you, bro?
You can find me on Reddit as well adjusted, no D. You can find me on BlueSky as well adjusted, no D. I'm also on Instagram, well adjusted, no D. And I'm also on Facebook. On Facebook, I just tend to post more stuff about friends and family. So you can find me. You can find me in any of those four places.
Definitely. How about you, James?
I am pretty much completely off of most social media. I'm starting to get back into it. I was lucky enough to find this Discord, found my people, so I'm kind of getting back into that sphere. Sometime later down the road, I might start putting out more like content related to that. But for right now, I'm kind of incognito, enjoying my time talking to you fellas and following a lot of the secular African American communities and build these communities up, and then hope just go from there.
Definitely appreciate you. And J Man, how about yourself?
Hey, it's me. You can find me over on BlueSky at DreamJMan, DreamJMan. Same thing over at Reddit, except there's a 15 behind it. The number 15, not spelled out. You're not going to find a lot of interesting stuff like this over on my BlueSky or Reddit. I don't post shit over there aside from video games, anime, sometimes my guns and range trips I've done throughout the week. That's really about it. If you want any of my opinions on all this stuff, you gotta tune into all of Volcy's channels to see me talk about any of this stuff.
All right.
I agree. This was very good. This was very good, very enjoyable, and I really appreciate the ability to come together with other Black men and discuss these very important issues.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely, man.
Especially as a non-believer. Especially as a non-believer.
Oh yeah, especially as a non-believer. If you want to go ahead, if you are a non-believer as well, remember that we have the Black Atheist Skeptics, the Bash Cookout going down next year. More news will be made about that. You can follow the Black Atheist Coalition channel for more details, and join us. And we will see you guys soon. I appreciate you guys being here. Y'all have a good day. All right.
Peace out, bro.
Peace.